Sends in the corner. Coleman shoots a three for the lead. Good! Matt Coleman hits the three. And the Longhorns are up to 76-74.
Welcome back live from Pluckers West Campus location. This is Longhorn Weekly with Shaka Smart and the guy that just hit that bucket, Matt Coleman. Shaka, you can do the honors here of your point guard from Norfolk, Virginia.
We've got Matt Coleman with us today, freshman point guard extraordinaire, guy who's gotten better and better, and has been a huge part of what we've done all year long. Obviously, we know last year we struggled without having a pure point guard, and he's really stepped in. He's certainly learned, kind of going through the fire in this league at that position, but really proud of what he's done so far, and hopefully the best is yet to come. Take us back, Matt. When did your relationship with Coach begin, and how did it evolve?
It all started my 8th grade year when I first began getting recruited while he was at VCU. And I just remember he was my third offer, right behind ODU and UVA. But ever since, we just had a growing, relationship. It was more than just basketball. It was relationship based, family oriented. Just getting to want to know one another, off the court and then on the court as well. He just loved my skill work, my mentality I brought to each and every game, and each day, each year, he relayed the same message, no matter if it was at VCU or Texas, that he wanted me to be his guy.
What do you see in an 8th grader that kind of makes the light bulb go off?
Well, the biggest thing I noticed about Matt was he had an incredible confidence and swagger about him as a young guy. And Matt played up. He played with a lot of older guys when he was younger. So when you see a young guy, particularly at the point guard position, playing with guys 2-3 years older than him and having the most swagger or most confidence on the court, that really catches your eye. And then the next thing was his pseudo big brother is a guy that we had at VCU for 4 years named Briante Weber. They're both from a similar area. We call the 757. That's the area code there. But those guys were very closely connected. So he followed our program at VCU probably more closely than he would have otherwise because of Briante.
Tell me about the work ethic and the story we heard about after you get back from Lubbock and you're in the gym till 3 in the morning, and then you have the big game against Oklahoma. Where does that come from? And then, Shaka, if you can just follow up on what that makes you think about as a head coach when you see that.
That's just like my passion for the game of basketball. After missing those free throws, I was really hurt and down on myself, and I felt like I was the main culprit of why we lost that game. And then when we got back from Lubbock, I remember Coach was like, we got back to the gym, and Coach was like, "I'll take you to your dorm," and I was like, "Okay." So we got in the car, and I just remember driving, and for the first 2 minutes, it was pure silence, and then he came out and asked me, he was like, "How do you feel?" I'm not gonna say what I said, but just know it was a little laughter, and he was just saying how I will always want you in that position. He was like, "You will be in that position again," and and everything that you're going through is just a learning experience. So it would be something you get better, and then that following weekend we played Oklahoma, and I was at the line again, and I made the next 4 free throws. So it all worked out.
The reason I drove him back, Roger, was I didn't want him to jump off the top of the building, so I just wanted to make sure he got back safely. The one thing, when I played, and obviously as a coach too, I've always taken losses really hard, and it bothers me sometimes when players don't take it as hard. So one thing that I like about Matt is that losing really bothers him if if something doesn't go the way we wanted it to go, and he's very highly motivated by that. And so for him to come back later that morning and get free throws up and work on his game says a lot about him.
What's the difference between playing mad and playing motivated and still playing within what the team's trying to do?
It's not much difference. That's what Coach wants from me, and he knows what I bring to the table, and it's like the type of personality I have, the charisma I have. If I'm doing that, and it just brings light into other players.
The true point guard is a term we've heard a lot about you in the pass first. You've developed a big time shot, and you had a couple of catch and shoot threes on Saturday, and you joke with me, do what needs to be done,
yeah.
But that kind of makes sense.
At the time during that play when Snoop passed me the ball, I already had my mind made up if he was throwing me this, I was going to shoot it. And fortunately, when he threw it to me, it went in, and it just felt good. Like I said, you never know when that time is going to be needed, so I had to just do what needed to be done.
When you see that kind of development in the season, where it's so much about the next game and all the things that go into a season, but you can see it before your eyes the way Matt's developing, that's pretty cool.
Well, he's had more shots go in and out this year than I've probably ever seen, and he's missed some shots earlier in the year that we know he can make and will make with consistency moving forward. So we want him to stay aggressive. We want him to take those shots. We want him to be a point guard where he gets everyone else involved, but if teams are going to help off of him or go under a ball screen or play him that way, we want him to be extremely aggressive. And I love the way that he attacked. I told him and Snoop, this is paraphrasing, but I basically told them before the West Virginia game, in order to win the game, you two are going to have to outplay their two senior guards. And, they, in a lot of ways, they did.
Well, let's talk about playing against a Javon Carter, a guy that's been around the block a few times. How big of a challenge was that, and how cool was it to come out of there with not just the win, but 22 points and the way it went down?
Well, Javon Carter's a really, really good guard, very mature, veteran. And the first time we played him down in West Virginia, I was probably a little rattled, with the crowd. Yeah, I was probably a little rattled with the crowd. His maturity, his strength of just playing in the Big 12 for 4 years. And I think coming around the second time, us playing at home, the worth of the game, I took all that into mind, and then Coach saying how he needed Snoop and I to just outplay Javon Carter and Dexter Miles, just really took that to heart, to pride that this was the game we eventually needed, and we just had to do anything to get the win.
Shaka, he was a big deal when he committed and signed, and Matt Coleman has been a big deal with this program from the start. How have you enjoyed watching him handle it all, and also a point guard? His job is to make everybody better, and it seems like he's been doing that.
I think he's handled it really, really well. One thing, Roger, that Matt doesn't get a lot of credit for, but that we talk about a lot within our program is defensively, he's been one of the best freshmen that we've ever had on that end of the floor. The thing that's exciting is Matt has a ton of room for growth. There's a lot of areas where he can keep getting better. And the blend that I look for in Matt is when he has extreme confidence, but plays with a level of humility and passion and drive that makes him want to go after that next play more than anybody.
All right, we're just getting started with the freshman. We're going to dig into his background, see what made him so tough before he came to Texas. Longhorn Weekly continues from Plucker's West Campus location right after this. Welcome back to Longhorn Weekly, live from Plucker's West location. Matt Coleman joining me, Longhorn freshman guard. And Matt, let's start when you were a kid growing up in Norfolk, and tell me about that experience. And a lot of basketball fans think of AI when you think of that part of the country and the toughness he brought. Is that kind of how you grew up in that part of the country? And tell me about your basketball background growing up.
Well, I just grew up in a basketball family. My dad was a was a coach for a local Division III school. My mom got her knowledge from him. You know, and I just remember being a child, always at the gym with my dad when he was coaching, you know, running around with a little basketball, you know, just always around the game and just learning from him and just watching, experiencing, and just growing up into eventually becoming to a basketball self myself.
What are some of the things that he instilled in you as a young age? A coach as a dad and a point guard as a son, that seems like a pretty good match.
Just being holding myself accountable, being responsible. He had a high IQ for the game of basketball, so I think that's where I get it from. I just loved like being around him. Just definitely when he was going to the gym, I couldn't get enough of it. I fed off of it.
Shaka mentioned that some kids maybe don't take losses as hard as he would like. Do you think that has something to do with your dad being a coach and seeing what it meant to him, you know, when he was coaching?
When he was coaching, he was very passionate, you know. I seen like a little spurts of him and Coach Smart. You know, he's really passionate, and overall, I'm just a passionate person when it comes to the game of basketball.
Who were the players you admired, looked up to, emulated when you were growing up?
You know, A.I. has been a local guy. You know, you see his highlights, you hear about him. He comes back from time to time. I was a big fan of him, and a local guy, Briante Weber, I really looked up to when I was young because he was from the area. He played for Coach Smart, and I just got to know him. He was always like a brother to me.
Number 2, that's for Briante, right?
Yeah.
All right, so Shaka goes from VCU in Richmond to Texas in Austin. You have any thoughts about Texas and University of Texas
I never
before
thought
that?
I never thought I would be in Texas.
I guess you knew about KD, maybe.
Yeah, that's about all. And I just remember getting a call like 2 days after he got the job, and I'm at the sports place, and I'm happy to be with Briante and Anthony Barber, and we're just all like sitting watching games, and I get a call, and he's like, yeah, I just want to offer you a scholarship. You know, we got the job at Texas. And I was like, I didn't see that coming, and from that point on, we could just continue to grow a relationship.
Did you have to do a little research on your own about UT?
Nah, I knew the coach. That was enough.
Trust.
Yeah.
That's really cool. What has been the adjustment been like for you coming down to Austin?
It has been an adjustment off the court. You know, different scenery from being home. I'm a long ways away. But, you know, I still, you know, contact my parents. They've been down here a couple times. On the court, just the difference between high school and college is a big difference. But the biggest thing I learned is response. When things aren't going your way, how do you respond? And I felt like, you know, I've gotten better with that, you know, each and every day, each and every game.
How cool was it to go back and play at VCU?
It was unbelievable. I think I was a little too happy that game. Didn't get the best performance I wanted, but we came out with a win.
Let's talk about Andrew Jones, because I know for you guys this has been a really difficult year in some respects, but seeing the way that he's fought has to be uplifting. What was that like Saturday in the locker room after the game, being able to talk to him on the phone? It
just shows how like he's getting better each and every day. It's still unbelievable, you know, what happened, because like we just been around him the whole summer, you know, the whole fall, and how he was so healthy, and then unfortunately he gets some heartbreaking news that startled all of us, and it's just great to see that like, he's doing so well, he's up and moving, he's looking more like himself. So.
All right, you got some pretty athletic bigs.
Yeah.
I want to ask you as a point guard, unlock the secret to the alley-oop pass with Mo and Jericho. What are you seeing and what are you trying to accomplish? I know it's not as easy as it looks, although Mo makes it look pretty easy.
There is no secret, really. You just throw it up there and you just let them be great.
Come on, Matt. There's got to be something. I've always heard you. A lot of people think you throw it to the basket. I've always heard you throw it to the player and then let him adjust with the ball. Is that accurate?
It all depends, you know, the angle on it. But 9 times out of 10, you just throw it up there to the cylinder and let them, you know, show what they do best.
Playing with Mo, and you knew what he came in and the accolades. But tell me about playing with Jericho and watching him grow. Someone, I don't know if you even knew him before you were part of the same class, and to see his progress.
I didn't know him at all until Coach Morrell, would send me like pictures and highlights of him with his head at the rim, and
said I can work with that.
Yeah. But these past recent games, you've seen Jericho really like take a step forward. Us not having Mo play and him being able to like take in the responsibility of being a dominant big that that we need from him and that he's going to be in the future. He's really showed like what he can do. His unbelievable athleticism is already a step ahead of some big guys in the Big 12, and I'm just looking forward to of the player he becomes in the future. He's really stepped up. He's being more open around the guys, and he's really maturing.
How tough is it coming in as a freshman in your position, knowing Coach is going to hand you a lot of responsibilities, and there's guys older than you, been here a while, but I guess you can't flinch in that leadership role.
It's very tough. I know in the beginning I was really hesitant. I didn't really want to step on any toes. I get the terminology. I'm too nice, still too nice at times, but each day I'm just learning. Each day I'm getting more confident in myself. I still have the trust from the coaching staff that they want more from me, and as time goes on, I know that I'm gonna fulfill that role the best that needed.
Do you have goals? I mean, what are your goals moving forward at Texas and in your career?
Well, we're going to Kansas City, and I would love to start off March with winning a Big 12 championship. So that's my first goal right now.
What's your March Madness aha memory? Do you have one that stands out with the tournament when you were a kid?
I remember last year, was it? No, not last.
2 years ago, Villanova.
2 years ago, Villanova won, and then UNC wins it last year after going to the championship 2 years in a row. I just March Madness is the best time of the year.
That's awesome. Thanks so much, Matt. It's been great visiting with you.
Thank you.
Longhorn freshman Matt Coleman. Longhorn Weekly continues live from Plucker's West location right after this.